Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
We are midway through your week, working our way towards Week 15 action in the National Football League. But it's Nielson and Huss back with you once again. It is the Lock Shop, brought to you by our wonderful partners at Coolbet. Sign up for an account today at Coolbet. Use the code LOCKSHOP, all one word, for a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. I see Soccer Guy has returned to the podcast today.
Soccer Guy is ready to go for the World Cup final on the weekend. And of course, if you're watching live, we've still got about half an hour until kickoff in this France-Morocco game. So we will touch on that. And a very light night in the National Hockey League, but we get a couple puck picks in. First off, I need to own last night. We had the Lock Shop partner parlay, Jets, Oilers, Leafs, plus 300. It looked too good to be true. I personally take ownership of the loss last night. And in fact, I should apologize to the Jets as well, because I was so confident that the Jets would win. No Eichel, no Pietrangelo, no Theodore, no White Cloud. It just seemed like this would be the game. And of all the nights for Connor Hellebuck to have like his one off night of the entire season, last night was it. And I don't think it's a coincidence. So I'm pledging to Jet fans out there and to Lock Shoppers, the Jets will never be a daily pick while I am making our selections for Coolbet. Well, you know what? It just, there's nothing positive that can come out of it, to be perfectly honest with you. There's enough games. I will go elsewhere. I won't have to have this weighing on my conscience the way that it was last night afterwards. And we went through. It was a wild game, though, back and forth. I mean, Shifley had the hat trick, although the most anticlimactic hat trick. They gave up an empty netter, and then he scored of the second left to make it 6-5. I got to tell you, though, Chandler Stevenson last night had 4 assists. Mark Stone stepped up huge. It was very impressive to see the Vegas Golden Knights step up when some of their big boys were out of the lineup, but they still got a lot of talent. There's a reason why they're a first-place team, but it was a rough night at Canada Life Center, and even a rougher night for me walking out realizing that I jinxed by making them the daily pick. It will not happen again. Oilers had a big one yesterday.
Oilers, yeah, they own the Preds. Leon Draisaitl owns the Nashville Predators. He's got 10 points in 2 games against the Preds this year, and that was before averaging 2 goals per game against them for the previous 8. So he owns the Nashville Predators. He plays the Preds in Nashville again next week. So we'll be circling back around to that again and hammering it one more time. But Huss mentioned, I mean, we got World Cup action in half an hour, so let's dive into it. We'll get to our puck picks tonight in a second. Quiet slate on Wednesdays. Obviously, when we're done with fantasy football, we'll get to more Tuesday slates in the National Hockey League, which are much, much bigger and many more options for us. But let's start with World Cup action today. France versus Morocco. The winner advances to take on Messi, who was brilliant yesterday in the World Cup final on Sunday morning. Huss, here we go. What are you doing? So you're on this France -1 at plus 170. This is that other spread, right? Like this is the other side of if you're looking at the Coolbet board, this is over on the right side.
Exactly. It's the spread 3-way. I will be honest. The soccer lines sometimes confuse me with what it is. Basically, France to win by 2 is my bet. And I told you, well, I guess yesterday going in that I had a nice Argentina-France parlay. I mean, I kind of thought that the Cinderella run of the Group F teams was over right now when they were going against 2 world-class teams. I still believe that. And to be honest, I think the number's really good on France to win by 2. Listen, Morocco's been unbelievable, and they haven't been giving up goals to anybody, exception of Canada. But I think that ends today, and I've been so impressed with what the French have done so far this year. I mean, the game against England was sort of back and forth, but oh my God, did they make the most of their opportunities? And as great of a story as Morocco's been, I just think that the clock's striking 12 for the Cinderella team of this event right now. And listen, as I say, I'll take the win right now because I've got the 2 teams to win on a parlay, but I think they get a goal. And then I think Morocco has to start pressing, which is not really in their nature. And I think that probably opens up some more opportunities for the French. And man, they are deadly. That Giroud seems like
he looks good, eh?
Never mind looking good. He almost seems like he was, created in a factory or something like that. I mean, I don't know if you saw that when he scored the goal against England, and then he goes up to the camera. He sort of lifts his shirt up, shows the perfect abs, and then you look at the guy. I'm like, guy's a freaking supermodel. My jaw was on the floor for many reasons at watching what Giroud did in that England game. I think they do it again, and wouldn't be surprised if we both win, because I like where you're going with a little goal prop today.
Well, yeah, and let me lay it out there. My pick was going to be France -1 as well. When I saw Huss had it, I was just like, you know what? Let's hop somewhere else. And I mean, we saw what happened yesterday with Lionel Messi. He was brilliant. This is what big players do on this stage. And he's at the different end of his career as Mbappe is here. But Mbappe, they both have 5 goals so far at the World Cup. I think the stage is set here for Mbappe to bury at least one. I mean, we'll see what else happens. But Morocco's been so good defensively. And we have to give credit to what Morocco has done so far. They've beaten Belgium, they've beaten Spain, and they've beaten Portugal in this World Cup. If they were to beat France and then somehow Argentina, that is the greatest run in World Cup history. I think that run ends today, and I think an Mbappe goal at +120 has a lot to do with that. So I do like our chances of both hitting this. Giroud, if you were looking for it, +175 to score today. And Huss, I was just Google searching pictures of this guy, and you're right. I mean, he does look like a French soccer robot who is also made sexually attractive to both men and women. Like, that's insane.
I wasn't as familiar with him before the World Cup, but I just left that France game going, can you imagine that guy's operation just in general in life?
Come on.
I mean, I don't think we need to get
and
into
the French accent and everything. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What a life that guy probably lives. My goodness.
Just before we move on, I mean, just quickly, I guess maybe we'll mention Giroud. He's +175 to score. And Mbappe as well, +119, +120. You're right there. And then listen, this tells you all you need to know. The Moroccan guy, the lowest Moroccan on the odds board is 5-1. So I think it's pretty clear that there are a couple of true elite players in this that sort of, to me, is the difference between France and Morocco. And we'll look forward to seeing whether France can move through. And then, man, a couple days to get ready for France going up against Argentina if it ends up that way. What an amazing final to this World Cup in Qatar.
That would be amazing. Messi knocking off the defending champs to finally get a World Cup would be a hell of a story. Once again, if you're watching on the Lock Shop right now, go get on these picks right away because things get rolling just after noon today. Let's slide over with some puck picks. Obviously, before we wrap it, just 3 games on the slate tonight. Wait a second. Those are parlay picks. Hang on. I've got our puck picks right here. There we go. That's where we're at tonight. Huss, lay it out to me. I'll give you my picks in a second. What are you going with?
Well, listen, I think there's some real value with the Habs. I mean, Ottawa's a -200 favorite. Ottawa hasn't been able to string 3 wins together basically since the beginning of the season. And I know we all expect Montreal to start going into this big, long losing streak and get to the bottom. They just haven't done that. They're above 500 right now. When you look at the records and how these teams have played, very hard for me to think that the Ottawa Senators should be as big of a favorite as they are right now. And listen, Sean Monahan is out, but Cole Caulfield will be playing, and we're expecting to play. He got smoked by Trevor Lewis on the weekend, but everything came back negative, so he should be good to go. The Habs always have a ton of fans there in Ottawa. So, I mean, it certainly will be, I think, one of those atmospheres, especially around the holidays, that should be fun to play in. And I guess overall, I mean, the Sens have just done nothing to make me think that, anyone should be laying this amount. This is almost a value play right now, +168 on the money line right now. And we saw the Habs do it to the Canadians on Saturday. They play tight games. They hang in them. And Montembeault's getting the start. And he's actually been quite good this year. I think 5-2-2 is his record. I mean, a 907, 908 goals against average. So, it's him and Talbot going up again. I mean, this is a big game for Ottawa. They really do need to put things together. But I just don't have a lot of confidence that they'll be able to get it done. So I'm going to take the underdog in that Habs game with a little bit of a swing for the fences. And then you got the Detroit Red Wings and the Minnesota Wild. I mean, the Wild are a huge favorite at home, minus 256. I did consider the puck line here to get the plus money at plus 102. But I'll say this about the Detroit Red Wings. Man, they've been tight. They played a lot of tight games. They've done very well. Ville Husso is having a monster season as the starting goaltender for Detroit. We expect it's going to probably be Ned because they did play last night and lost 1-0. Just couldn't get some scoring. But listen, the Wild have won 6 of 8. They've been very, very good at home as of late. I do expect them to win the game. Way too chalky to drop it on the minus 256. But I think instead of going with the spread, we'll go with Minnesota in regulation at minus 154 to get the job done. That's the safer pick tonight. And we'll also put a little sprinkle on the Habs to hit the upset on the road in the nation's capital.
Yeah, I got a little parlay here on over 2.5 team goals. Montreal going up against Ottawa, like you mentioned, Huss. I mean, Ottawa gives up goals. We know that. Montreal's got some of the weapons that can certainly score. So Montreal over 2.5 goals, and Calgary against the Vancouver defense that leaks goals big time. They've given up 7 and 5 goals in 2 of their last 3 games. Calgary's getting a little bit healthier here. So I like Calgary and Montreal, both of them over 2.5 goals tonight. That'll pay plus 154 on a little 2-game parlay. And then I'm going to go with Matt Boldy over 0.5 points. It's minus 138. And I watched him against Edmonton earlier in the week, and he was the best player on the ice. He only played 13 and a half minutes. He was the first star of the game. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And he's been a little bit of a streaky player so far, at least over the last month or so. Listen to this. So you go back to late November, was on a 5-game point streak, had 7 points during the 5-game point streak. Then he went pointless in 3 straight games, and he was playing almost 19 minutes a night on average. His last 2 games, he's played 12 minutes and 13 and a half minutes, and he's got 3 points in those 2 games. So something's not really jiving with the ice time and the production levels. But what I do know is that if Matt Boldy plays tonight, like he played against the Oilers a couple of nights ago, he's getting a point tonight. He was outstanding in that game against the Oilers. I was very impressed. So Matt Boldy over 0.5 points at minus 138. I think he's about 0.8 points per game so far this year. I just think, he's been streaky over the last month, and he's trending in the right direction right now. So let's go Matt Boldy over 0.5 points. They got a keeper there in mini for sure.
Oh, man, that's the reason why they're able to do what they're doing right now with those crazy cap hits they took from buying out Suter and Parise's contract. Matt Boldy has been, a huge addition, and it's great to see the way he's developing and continues to get better. I think I might actually hit the Calgary puck line tonight, too, to be honest with you. I'm just thinking.
I was wondering about the Calgary puck line.
I think they've got, listen, Vancouver's got a lot of questions around them. They've been incredibly inconsistent. Well, they've been consistently not that good, to be perfectly honest. And I have a feeling Sutter's going to have the boys ready to go after, losing an OT to Toronto, and then not getting it done against the Montreal Canadiens. So they come back, big divisional game. I'm sure the Flames will be ready for that one. And I think there may be a little sprinkle. The number is almost too good to refuse at plus 138.
Plus 138, right? Yeah.
What we've seen from the Canucks so far this year.
All right, so there you go. That's going to do it for today's episode of The Lock Shop. Tight 15 minutes, getting you ready for that World Cup. If you want to hop on it, we're on France -1 and Mbappe to score today. And then that's the slate for the National Hockey League tonight. Thursday night football tomorrow as we start to transition to Week 15 in the NFL. And if you've been listening to the podcast or you've been watching on Twitter, make sure you watch on the YouTube channel. That stream is live right now as well. Just go and search Lock Shop Bets on Twitter, find our pinned tweet, retweet it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you go into the draw for $1,000 cash. When we hit 1,000 followers, we're going to give away $1,000 cash. It's sitting in my desk right next to me here. So I'm ready to give that away. Let's build up that YouTube subscription base.
Right on. Well, good luck to everyone. A little bit of a slower night tonight, but busy night tomorrow in the NHL. And, of course, great Thursday nighter with the Niners in Seattle take on the Seahawks. Big game in the NFC West. And I'm not sure I expected Seattle to be part of a big game at this point in the year when we kicked off the season. But we'll get after it. And then, of course, huge show on Friday. We'll probably have to do the parlays on Friday as well with how many games we have on Saturday.
That's true.
So
Super episode. Super episode on Friday, buddy.
Another super episode on the award-winning best bets here on. I'm not sure what award we won, but it's actually been a great year. So join us tomorrow, and then of course for the big one on Friday, getting ready for Week 15 in the NFL.
We'll talk to you on Thursday.